Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Mad as a Goat. Today I wanted to talk about identity politics because I'm noticing more and more over time as time goes by that politics is becoming less about the policies people have, the ideas they have, and if they're actually feasible to working towards the goals that you want to see for your country, state or province, and more towards if you like that guy or not. It's become a very common thing here in Australia, like every election time, if you ask someone why they're voting for someone, they'll be like, oh, well, I'm voting for Albanese, mate. His mum was a struggling single parent, and, I identify with that, and that's why I'm voting for him. And ironically, since he's been in power, pretty much everything he's been a part of has been damaging those working class people. And pretty much everyone, actually. The overspending, it's all about I hate to say it, but woke politics. He's just masquerading woke politics and just spending money all over the place, and there's no rhyme or reason to what he's doing, and he mostly just got in because, I fucking like that guy, he's alright, mate, he's a working class, he came up from the bottom, mate, good guy. But the guy's a bloody moron. Honestly, last election I was looking at both candidates like, can we get someone who's actually a good candidate? Why do we have these bloody talking heads, identities, sort of faux celebrity types up there? These aren't real candidates. These are bloody morons. I've been seeing this trend happen even worse and worse over time. The last election I can remember in Australia was like 2009, where you actually had a choice between two politicians that were actually different, had different goals, and I knew what those goals were. But for like the last 10 years or so or more, I don't know what most politicians are thinking, because it comes down to their identity and what they believe in instead of what they're going to do and how they're going to achieve those goals. Like, I look at this thing with Donald Trump and Camilla Harris. Donald Trump's a friggin' lunatic. I mean, like, he's just mental. You might like some of his ideas or agree with some of his politics, but even if I agreed with what he wanted to do, I just really don't think he would achieve it in any meaningful way, because the guy's a raving lunatic. Is his side of the party in some ways better than the other side? Yeah, the other side has parts I like too, but I wouldn't vote for either of these morons. Like, like I said, Trump is a bloody lunatic. The guy's a businessman slash, reality TV show star, not really a political candidate. And Camilla Harris, yeah, she's very learned and she's been in politics a long time, but I have no idea what her politics are at all. She she just mostly bashes on Trump and how, she is superior and better than him, and, okay, that's fair enough. Bit of sledging helps with your political campaign, but there's no substantive answers that I've seen that really get to the meat and bones of what she is going to do and how she's going to achieve her goals. Do I believe she could achieve the goals? Oh, sure, if she had some goals that I was aware of and agreed with, I'd be like Camilla Harris all the way. But the problem is, and this is a comparison I've seen a lot of her, she seems like a drunk mum when she's in these interviews. She's just giggling all over the place, sort of meandering around and never really giving you any sort of substantive answers. She says a lot of good things and a lot of nice buzzwords and says, I'm going to help the people. I'm not really sure how I'm going about that, and what are you doing? I just don't know what the fuck either of these guys are going to achieve, because the entire time the whole election has been based around their identities and around who Trump is and who Camilla Harris is. This guy versus that guy. It should be this idea versus that idea. Me personally, if I had to vote in this election, I just wouldn't bother, because I'd probably just put on my ballot form, can we get an actual politician or someone who actually has some sort of semblance of an idea of, one, how to relay information and have like plans and ideas to achieve goals, and two, someone who's just actually qualified to be in that position. And this is something I'm seeing all over the Western world. We're seeing a lot of people who are just like hitting buzzwords and saying the right thing and saying they're going to do this, that, and the other, which, okay, yes, has been a part of politics since the beginning of time, but even more so now, and getting votes off their personality. The current Prime Minister here in Australia, Mr. Anthony Albanese, a lot of people, if you ask them around the last election why they're voting for him, very few would have any substantive answers about what they thought he was going to do and how they thought he was going to be good, me included. But a lot of people just said, oh, his mum, she was working class, mate. He grew up in the commission flats, mate. He did it tough, mate. He's a real fucking Aussie battler. That's my guy. I'm voting for him, mate. Good fucking Aussie battler. And he did play off that, and he did dodge a lot of questions just basically going on about his background. And if he was forced to do his job and relay the information and plans about how he's going to do things in detail in ways that are digestible by the public, he wouldn't have got elected in, and we would have all asked for an actual candidate. Because the people we're getting in the Western world, these people aren't political candidates. I don't think these guys could properly manage a fart out their asshole. These are worthless candidates. Us Westerners, we're angry about a lot of things. A lot of us have opinions that we're very passionate about, but there's something we've overlooked. Our politics is becoming a bit of a shit show. It's becoming a joke. And the corruption in our politics it's bad on all sides. The entire system seems to be completely broken and made for those who want to abuse it, instead of actually just do the right thing. Like here in Australia, it didn't matter who we voted for. There were a lot of plans that were already running and in place that were sending our country down the toilet. We're having mass inflation here in a housing crisis, and it has nothing to do with anything beyond the fact that our federal and state governments are spending money like it's never going to run out. They've started like 20 friggin' roadwork, like major huge roadworks, multi-$100 billion fucking roadworks here at the same time simultaneously, just a few years after COVID, when our economy was already getting smashed. All at once, we're going to do this, and anyone with any logic in their mind would have gone, we lost a lot of money with COVID, really damaged our economy. We're still kind of reeling from that. Probably not a good time to start 20 major multi-billion dollar roadworks at the same time simultaneously around the country. And these huge, like these monolithic projects that should be done like this, one's done at this time, and then like once that's finished and paid off, we move on to the next one. No, we're doing it all at once. And no one really noticed that they have been just doing this reckless, corrupt bullshit and just basically hiring their mates for massive wages and giving them big jobs and stuff. And this is both sides. Doesn't matter who you vote for, because we're all about their identity. Oh, I'm voting for Tony Abbott, he's a good bloke. I don't give a shit if he's a piece of crap. Can he run a country and actually make it profitable? Or is he a corrupt dickhead who's just going to serve himself? Like most of the candidates we're getting nowadays are just a bunch of talking heads, corrupt idiots who don't give a shit about anyone other than themselves. And it's blatant nowadays. Back in the day, you'd have to like watch an analyst or someone who was really paying attention to see the corruption in politics. But nowadays, you just observe life and it's just your everyday life. Everything is just corrupt. Everything. Like here in Australia, we have this thing called work cover, and it's basically there to protect you if you get injured at work and shit like that. And it's so friggin' broken and corrupt that people who legitimately need it have to like take on getting their claim as a part-time job. It's actually easier to rot the system like the politicians do and take it for as much money as you can than to legitimately use it. And because of all this overspending in all these other areas, the roadworks, and even just making up political jobs so you can give someone a couple $100,000 a year, and if you're from another country, the idea of just a senator or something getting a couple $100K a year, and then that continues in their retirement as part of their pension is just absurd. That's how we do it here in Australia, because we're bloody fucked. But anyway, these people are so openly corrupt, and all they're going to do is put on a little character and a little charade and talk about how they're working class or something like that, and no one even is paying attention to all the other crap they're doing, and then acting surprised once the fallout happens. Another thing that's friggin' crazy is like the politicians here, and they do this around the world. Here we call it a royal commission. In other countries they might call it an inquiry or something like that. But whenever there's something that's just blatantly fucked, instead of actually telling us how they're going to fix it or having a plan to fix it, we're having an inquiry or a royal commission, which is just basically we're going to hire a bunch of our mates, give them a couple $100K a year to investigate something, point out all the problems, and now we've pointed them out, everyone's happy, give it a minute, they're forgotten, alright, on to the next fucking waste of money that we're going to do. And they're doing this all over the Western world. There's no rhyme or reason to the shit they do. They either do it, one, because it looks good to the public. You know, if we're letting heaps of gay people get married, then that looks good. They don't do it because they actually agree with it or care. They do it because it's part of the identity. It's part of just looking good, putting on the facade. They're just corrupt just across the board, but you're just falling for the facade. You think Camilla Harris is this wonderful woman who's going to come in and just fix everything. You think Donald Trump's this great man who's going to make America great again. Neither of them are going to do anything other than fucking serve themselves. And why wouldn't they, when the public are just going to eat up their persona and think they're actually making a change in the polling booth? Just eating up this absolute, like, to me, maybe because I'm so cynical, I'm noticing it more than others, but it's so obvious. Politics is taken over by identity and caricatures of people just to appease the public so they think they actually have a choice, which at the end of the day we don't. We have the choice to just deal with it. That's our choice. Yeah, we're going to make these little non-substantive changes and we're going to spend a shitload of cash and we're going to just do whatever the fuck we want willy-nilly and not even really think about it, because you weren't even asking for a plan for what we were doing from the first place. You were too busy going, Camilla Harris is kind of like my mum, I like that lady. The lady's got no plans, mate. When she gets in, she is just going to be subject to whatever Congress or her party wants. So you're voting for her because you think she's going to do this. She doesn't even know what she's going to do. She can't even give an answer for what she's going to do. No substantive answer or plan or rhyme or reason. Just buzzwords and identity bullshit. Friggin' crazy. Our whole society has gone completely mental with identity. And if it isn't just the fact that you can put on a facade nowadays and fool people if you say the right buzzwords, even just the emphasis on how important our identities are is kind of annoying. You gotta kind of let go of identity and look at, like, there's more to you than just how you identify. There is your reasoning, your thoughts, and all this other more complex stuff. Are you actually thinking? Do you actually care? What are you actually doing is what should matter. Not what's between your legs, or how you identify, or your sexual orientation, or if you're working class or a battler, or any of this unnecessary garbage. And look, I can't even blame Donald Trump for seeing the writing on the wall about how modern politics is and going, I'm jumping in there because I got a personality and a pretty cool persona. I could make a lot of changes here because no one's really paying attention to what we're actually doing. You know, I don't know. These are just my opinions. Once again, I've been mad as a goat. Very mad. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will see you the next time I upload. Mwah.